how to scrape TikTok comments on n8n. And this is only a demonstration video of how you can do it. I'm not promoting the idea that you should go ahead and scrape TikTok. That's not really kind of allowed. I'm only showing you how you can do it if you wanted to do it. So this is only for demonstration purposes. But hey, essentially, I had this comment on my YouTube channel a few days ago, or yesterday, I think it was, where this person mentioned, hey, is it possible to get comments from a video that are only questions to save in a Google Sheet or whatever? And yes, it's possible. And I'm going to show you how you can do that in, I don't know how long this is going to take, but it's probably going to go pretty fast. It's pretty simple. But hey, the way we're going to go about this really is we're going to use a couple of tools, and the tools we're going to use is, or a few tools, Google Sheet, since you mentioned Google Sheet, and Appify to scrape the comments. Appify to scrape the comments, ChatGPT to create the prompt for checking the questions, because not everybody is going to use a question mark in their questions. Some people might ask questions without that, so we can really filter on that. We could create some sort of map of how a question might sound like. Maybe like, oh, if we have this is a question, this is a question, this is not a question. And we could then map things alongside that. But hey, you know what? We have AI, and we're going to use AI where it actually makes a difference. And that's in this situation. And then we're going to use n8n to connect everything together. And over here, I have some random account that I found on TikTok that we're going to scrape. Okay, let's get into it. So I've already added a cron. You can add whatever you want. In this case, if you want to add a manual trigger, you can do that. I just want to keep it simple, so I added a cron. I haven't really changed anything here. Doesn't really matter too much. And the next thing we're really going to do is we're going to get the actor from Appify. If you don't have an Appify account, just create one. Once you have one, you need to find this actor. Is just TikTok scraper. Go to the Appify store, search for TikTok scraper. You're gonna see a lot of different ones, but it's important that you actually select the correct one. I'm just gonna show you here quick if this can load. As you can see there, it's kind of at the top actually. And as you can see here, the creator is, yeah, he has created a lot of different ones, but we're just gonna use that one. And then normally what I do is that I will just click on the URL, copy that, go back to n8n and paste that in here and then search by ID, and then run an actor and get data set. The reason for why you do run an actor and get data set with this is because if we're only getting 100 comments, it's fine, because the likelihood of this crashing is very slim. However, if you were to, let's say, try to scrape 100,000 comments, I will not do this, because it's gonna error out and you're gonna lose all of those comments. Not lose them, it's just that you're going to have to go in here, go to the run and get the data set, and that's kind of annoying, especially if you have an automation that is just supposed to run all the time. You kind of don't want to like manually have to go in and chase that all the time. So that's why you will essentially create some sort of a run actor and then get the dataset ID and then check the run, how it's going. But yeah, either way, we go back in here, and then what I'm gonna do is number of videos per hashtag. We're not really gonna touch that. TikTok profile data, we're not gonna touch that either. Search, not really. Video URL, yes, we're gonna change that. So if I go back in here, I'm just gonna copy that and I'm just gonna paste that in here, and then download TikTok video. Not really. What we actually want to do is we just want to get the comments, which is down here. And for this, I'm just gonna take 20 comments. Let's take 40. Or yeah, let's take 40 comments. That's fine. I don't want to take the replies. If you want to take that, you can do that. But in my case, I'm not really interested in that. And then I'm gonna click on the JSON, and you're gonna see this body. Go in here, paste it, and kind of, I mean, you can double check this and just make sure that you have the correct settings here. But I can see that I have the comments and I have the profile, and that's really kind of it. I kind of don't think you really need to have this, but I'm just going to leave those. And then all we kind of need to do is just run this. And while it's running, I'm gonna go back in here and just, because I haven't really mapped out everything, but what we need to do is scrape the comments, right? Once we have the comments, we probably need to get the data that is necessary. In this case, maybe the ID, the comments themselves, and maybe something else. and then we have to run everything through ChatGTP, and then we have to post them to our Google Sheet. We can just post them one by one to our Google Sheet. Actually, that's fine. So you can see here, this is taking a minute or so. And this is kind of the thing that if you're scraping a lot of comments, then I don't think you should do it this way. Because I've done it this way when you have a lot of things you want to scrape. And when it errors out, you kind of have to go locate the file manually and then like get the data. And that is a lot of like headache, to say the least. We should probably take in 20 comments, but I was a bit unsure if we will, because logically speaking, how many people are actually asking questions versus how many people just commenting trash. Not trash, but they're just randomly commenting things. And not everybody's asking something. So if we have 40 comments, maybe 10 of them actually ask a question. So that's kind of how I was thinking about it. But we could maybe have gone to 20 and maybe had like, I don't know, between 1 to 5 questions instead. But yeah. Okay, and it's finally done. Great. So we're just gonna take a look here and see, because if I remember correctly, the comments are in some sort of weird table. Comments in. Yeah, there we go. So we pretty much. Oh my god, did he get all the comments? Like what? No, it's just the amount of comments they have. Okay, so what we kind of need to do now is we need to run like a HTTP on that comment dataset URL, and I'm just gonna run that. Hopefully that works the way I think it's gonna work. It's gonna do that. There we go. We got 40 comments. I'm gonna pin that. Perfect. And then we're just gonna take a look at the comments and see, okay, what do we actually have here, and what is actually important here. Well, if I were to take a guess here, I will assume that you might want to like direct URL to that video, probably. Maybe create a time, the comment itself. Instead of, we can take create a time ICO, and then likes count, like by other pin button replied, unique account ID. We might as well take that, and that's kinda it. We can take that UID as well, and then I will just do that. I don't know why it's lagging so hard, where I essentially need to stop the execution. Okay, but then as we've done right now, because right now we have the comments, right? Then the next step really is, okay, we gotta pull up the AI agent. We have 40 items, which means that, okay, we're just gonna loop through this. It doesn't make sense to not loop through this at all. We're just gonna do this. And then I'm gonna use open router, and I'm just gonna do that, and I'm just gonna use fast grok. Fast grok is here's my favorite AI bot actually. I'm just gonna execute that. I'm gonna break it, and let's see. There we go. And then we're just gonna do comment. Just gonna do comment. Yeah, that's all really kind of need. System message, and then read the comment, and mark true if it's a comment, if it's a question, and mark false if it's not a question. And then I will do output a JSON like this. Question true. Question true or false. I think that should work. Can you refine this system prompt? It's gonna do that. Yeah, that's fine. Return on the question true or false. Perfect. And then we're just gonna run that. There we go. Question false. And then we're gonna add an if node here, and I'm just gonna, before even adding if node, we're just gonna add a set node. We're gonna do this JSON because this is how you handle like the output from the AI bot. And then we're gonna be able to get it as that, and then we can essentially take a question is true, and then we're just gonna do nothing over here, and we're just gonna loop true, and then over here we're just gonna do, we can add this over here. You know what, we don't need to do it, we're just gonna do this Google Sheet, append row in sheet, and then we're just gonna find TikTok comments, sheet 1. There are no columns, makes a lot of sense. This is all JSON, which is kind of annoying. I'm just gonna do that code in JavaScript, and then run once for all items now. And then I'm gonna reference back that the loop is where I'm gonna reference back, because that way we kind of don't have to rewrite all the columns, which saves me some time. So I'm just gonna do that, reference back that, and yeah, I mean that of course that's gonna happen. Yeah, it's just looping through that, right? So we're just gonna do this, and then I'm just gonna refresh this. Actually, it's bugging out a lot. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So now we have our first question. Let's take a look. What we're saying. What PS were they? What PSI were they inflated? No, I have no clue what he's asking about. What PSI were they inflated? No. Yes, sir. That makes a lot of sense. And this should had. This should have reference back, but do we? Okay, let's see if we can reference back that. I'm just gonna pin that, and then I'm just gonna do this, and I'm just gonna. Oh my. Let's check here. What happened? Oh, okay. Okay, damn it. I'm not going to do that. My laziness is not going to win today. God damn it. So, okay, we're just going to go ahead and just copy all of this. Hopefully I can do it. Okay, I can't copy all of them. Please let me copy them. Okay, I'm just gonna manually do it. Dig account, and then unique ID, and then UID. There you go. And then we're gonna go back here, and we're gonna refresh this. Once we refresh it, I feel like everything is super slow today. I don't know. Just gonna add that there, and then we're gonna do dig account, unique ID, UID as well, and then I'm gonna do nothing. And we're just gonna do this. And just so you know, this is not the smartest thing ever, because at the end of the day, you're kind of gonna be looping through the same comments if you scrape this again. Normally, you will kind of save the non-comment somewhere, so you don't loop through them every single time through the AI, because that's gonna waste of credits pretty much and time. So if I refresh this, I should probably start seeing the comments like that, right? And then as you can see here, yeah. Thing is like, please tell me. Yeah, it sounds like a question, so I guess it makes sense, you know, like that there will be a question. And then do you know the only but this is pretty much how I will do it. The only thing that I will kind of do is that I will have already seen comments or something like that, where I will store all the comments that we've already seen, so that if we were to run this over, we will essentially filter them out before they hit the AI agent, and by doing that, you then save on credits. That's essentially how I will kind of approach it. But this is pretty much like a quick and dirty solution, just to show you how you can do this. In real production, you will probably do a bit more work here in terms of like setting this up, but this is pretty much the solution that the person was asking about. So I just wanted to show them like, hey, okay, this is essentially how you can set this up. And as you can see here, it's kind of 31 items and 24 were non-questions and 7 were actually questions. And then as you can see here, this got, and also, oh wow, that got 10,000 likes. That's a lot. That's a lot, actually. Yeah. Let's see here. And the only reason why the system prompt is so easy, because it's not a lot of details, but it's because it's just like, it just has to figure out if this is a question or not. Like, that's it. Like, just tell me if this is a question, yes or no. And that's quite literally. And as you can see here, bro, what does it look like after? And all of these people, you can kind of understand that they're asking questions. It's just that these people, like the way they spell, like in this new age, they, oh my god, like it's like trying to read cryptic over here. Damn. So this is the new trend now, huh? I wouldn't really say that this is a question. I will probably, so let's say you get something like this, right? You get this where, so this trend is new, huh? I might try to. I might do this. I might go to the chat being like, "Hey, the agent flagged this as a question, but it's not really a question at all, as you can see. Can we add a patch under the main prompt as dot 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 patch, and then do patch one down down dot 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 dot." That's kind of how I do when I want to make updates in my prompt. I don't update the main prompt, especially if it's working, because when you do that, you kind of have to rerun everything again, because you've changed a lot, and at that point you kind of need to make changes just to make sure that everything works as it should. That's why oftentimes I will just create a patch section where I will just write up like, okay, we want to make this change, and then I will just add it. And it's like here. So as you can see here, do not classify comment as question solely because it contains a question mark. I don't even think that this had a question mark, but yeah. Jokes as well. If you don't generally seek an answer. Oh yeah, that's good. So this is actually generally like perfect, right? And all I will really do is just add it here. And if you take markdown, you will be able to also see it here. But this should be like 3. This shouldn't be 1. This one can be 2. That's fine. And then this is essentially how I will kind of look at it. And as you can see here, it's quite easy to like look over and be like, okay, here are the patch, or here is the patch pretty much. And that's kind of it. And I'm not really gonna rerun this, but that's how I kind of go ahead and update this AI again, depending on what I'm seeing. And this was kind of false flag. And this is a question for sure. Um, yeah, the rest are fine, you know. Yeah, this is also a false flag if, when I look over it, you know, because it's kind of the same thing that they're just telling you that, hey, I have this problem, but that's not really a question either. But yeah, hopefully this kind of makes sense in terms of like how you approach this and improve the AI again over time. It just depends. Some in some situations you kind of need to make like elaborate the system prompt and explain everything down to like the most like a granular way, because you kind of understand that okay, this AI can miss it. That's when it kind of takes time to like fix it and make sure that it behaves the way you want. But if it's something simple as this, like just figure out if this is a question or not, then it's not really, it's not like you have, it's not like if it goes ahead and puts true on something that is not a question, that is the end of the world, because we can just simply go back and be like, okay, we got just gotta change this. But if this was like, oh, we're contacting customers and it makes a mistake, that maybe that's not really that good, right? But hey, this is pretty much how I will kind of go through it. So because what he wanted was just get all the comments from one video and then get all the questions and then save in a Google Sheet. And if I were him, I might even go ahead and do a Google Sheet. Yeah, I mean, normally I don't really recommend people to use Google Sheet at all because, yeah, Google Sheet is kind of bad to use to work with. Google Sheet is like good to do testing with, but in production, I wouldn't really do it because you're just gonna put yourself in a painful place with all of the rate limits and yeah. But what I will pretty much do in this case is that I will. This is how I will kind of approach it. I will probably have like videos, video URLs, and then I will add video URL status, and then I will add a video URL over here, and then I will have in progress, and then I will go back in here, and I will just go add filter. I will go to video URLs. I will go status in progress. So what will happen now is that we will get all the in progress videos. Once we get the in progress videos, we will then be able to add in the video URL in here, right? So I will be able to do this. And then maybe you want to increase the comments. I don't know, like maybe you want 100 comments. It depends on you, right? And then you will essentially do that. And once everything is pretty much done, I might, because we need to update the status of that sheet. But in this case, we could, I won't maybe do it in here. I will probably do it once the loop is done. So I will do another Google Sheet, update row in sheet, and then I will do TikTok comments, and I'll go ahead video URL, and I will do video URL, and then I will do done. This is kind of how I will kind of approach it. And then I will pretty much get rows in sheet. Yeah. And this is a problem right now because if we get multiple rows, then if we reference them, they're gonna be out of order. So that this is actually not gonna work, which means that this should actually only get one item at a time. So if we do that, then we can just do first. And then you're gonna get number two, which is a number two over here, as you can see, which is fine in this case because we always only get one row from this, right? So it's fine. And then if you have this cron over here and you just, I don't know, you run it, I guess you can have it run like every 10 minutes. It just depends. Every hour maybe. It depends on how much you're scraping, because if you notice that, hey, it's taking a bit of time to scrape, then we kind of need to execute this when executed by another workflow. And I know like I'm starting to build out things right now, which wasn't really the goal, but it's just because I've done this a lot and I know where you're gonna have problems if you do this. But this is kind of how I will kind of approach it. If I knew that the scraping took time, I will probably go ahead and have when executed by another workflow, and then I will have another flow which will execute a sub workflow. And the way this one will essentially work is that this will have a cron, And I'm not saying you have to do this. This is just how I will kind of approach it. But I will then go ahead and check my workflow 90. There you have it. And but before running it, we will do one thing. We will actually go ahead and the handles, and then we'll get execution. We'll say get a workflow. Um, okay, that's a problem. So normally what you can do is that you can run like a HTTP node over here, and then you can check if this is running, and then and if it's not running, you can then do an if, and then check that if it's not running, then you can run it. And if it's running, you just go down here. And that's how you will make sure that this is always running, but it's not running on top of each other. So you don't have multiple scrapers on all the same at the same time. Because if this is in progress and you run it again with a cron, then it's probably going to run the same row you're already running. So to avoid that, we make sure that we have this flow over here running it and always checking is there something running. And if there's always something running, then we're in the clear, because we know that this is not going to be able to run the same row over and over again. It's only going to be able to run this item, and when this item is done, then there's really nothing to get because there's nothing else there, right? And if you add something else that is in progress, then it will be able to get that. So that's kind of how I will approach it in this case. I know there is a way to like get this HTTP node and get that run in n8n. So yeah, but this is a way you could solve this. As you can see here, as soon as you start building, and if you build a lot, you will kind of know what problems are going to come up, and because of that, you're pretty much just going to be able to pre-handle those, so they don't really come up, you know. And that's kind of the thing here. What I'm doing, I'm just pre-handling all of those issues that are coming up, because as mentioned, I wouldn't use Google Sheet, and I wouldn't use a cron here because I know how the scrapers kind of work. I would rather control them by another flow. And then I will also make sure that I have already seen comments, so we don't rerun the same comments, which is common if you don't have a filter for that. And that's kind of really it. And then of course mark this as done. And the comments we get, I mean, then whatever you want to do with comments, I don't know. But yeah, that's the approach I will pretty much take in this. Hopefully all of this makes sense. I mean, if it doesn't make sense, just ask in the comments. Besides that, subscribe to the channel, and